What's up guys, Texas Matt here. Welcome back to another CNS Trucking newsletter. This month, things are getting intense. From OSHA and heat regulations to HAZMAT training to $1 million chameleon carrier caught cheating the FMCSA. We have it all. Let's get this diesel a-chugging. Many of you may have heard me say Texas Matt from time to time. Well, that's because I'm from Texas. And what does that mean? Well, it means I know a thing or two about unbearable heat. Have you ever been there in the middle of summer? It is brutally hot. And that is just me talking as an office worker that sits in the AC most of the time. I can't even imagine what it would be like to work outside in that heat. Today, we're talking about a new rule that OSHA proposed on July 2nd. Yay. The rule is meant to protect workers from heat-related injuries and illnesses and ultimately help prevent on-the-job deaths from heat-related incidents. With 80% of heat-related deaths occurring in outdoor work environments, you would think we only need to worry about those outside workers, but that just isn't the case. Around 61% of non-fatal heat-related cases actually happen indoors. So this new rule would apply to anyone working indoors or outdoors without an adequate climate-controlled environment that is at risk of hazardous heat exposure. To further protect employees, OSHA is also addressing whether or not employees have existing health conditions. If an employee is exposed to extreme heat and already has issues with asthma or heart disease, those conditions could actually get worse and lead to things like heat stroke or even death. If you have any questions about this new rule or think you need to offer better protection for your employees, you can call, email, or fill out the form below and we would be happy to help. Just so you know, as an employer, you really should start considering these 4 things as they will be requirements under the new OSHA rule. 1, at a heat index of 80 degrees, employers have to provide drinking water and break areas. 2, at a heat index of 90 degrees, employers have to monitor for heat illness signs and give mandatory 15-minute breaks every 2 hours. 3, employers have to appoint a heat safety coordinator and review their heat safety plans annually. And 4, the rule is a specification standard, which means that employers must, without question, follow the set guidelines to a T. Now, just so you know, there are some exemptions where this rule wouldn't apply. Those would include situations where there is no expectation of exposure to high heat, short duration exposures, firefighting and emergency response, air-conditioned environments below 80 degrees Fahrenheit, telework, and indoor work that's mostly inactive. Employers are also required to create a heat injury and illness prevention plan, which will designate a heat safety coordinator to implement and monitor the plan. The requirements for the plan are that it include work activities covered, compliance policies and procedures, and heat index that would be used to monitor the heat conditions. Now, I'm summing all of this up for you, so for all the details on heat injury and illness prevention plans or how to identify heat hazards in indoor and outdoor work environments, just read the full article in the description below. This rule could protect 35 million workers nationwide, but because it may seem extreme by many, we think it might get some backlash in the comment period, even though there are already 5 states with similar protections in place. Also, since this is a law proposed by Biden, we wonder what would happen if Trump was elected for a second term, since he did pause a lot of new rulemakings in his first term. We'll see how everything shakes out, but if you have any questions or concerns in the meantime, please give us a call, email, or fill out the form below, and one of our occupational healthcare specialists will help you out. Have you ever thought about being a pilot? Sure you have. As kids, when someone asks, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" no kid says, "I want to be an accountant," or "I want to audit taxes." Of course not. Kids gravitate to the professions in uniform because that is what they see and know, like police officers, firefighters, or even pilots. Don't you remember seeing pilots walking around the airport in uniform? They had their briefcase, they were cutting in line to get on a plane, they just seemed so important. Well, they kind of are. They have to safely transport a lot of living people from one place to another and keep them that way. Which is why the FAA has very strict requirements when it comes to drug and alcohol testing to become a pilot and to stay a pilot. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, in the movie Flight, Denzel Washington flipped the plane upside down and saved everyone, and he was wasted. Well, you're right, but this isn't a movie, and let's face it, you ain't Denzel. So, what are the rules and regulations to keep the aircraft and flyers safe, and why? Well, the FAA requirements are very similar to other industries, like the trucking industry. They require pre-employment and random tests, post-accident and reasonable suspicion testing, return to duty and follow-up testing, and even pulmonary function tests. And these drug and alcohol tests aren't just for pilots. Y'all know the saying, there's no I in team. And it takes a team to get that aircraft from point A to point B. We'll throw up a list of positions on screen, but think about air traffic controllers, maintenance technicians, or even flight attendants. Yep, they're all required to be tested in the same way pilots are. Much like other transportation professionals, they are operating or assisting in operating large equipment where safety is key, and you just can't do that while under the influence. Now, there are a lot of details that go along with testing, and I'm not going to bore you with all of that. So if you want to know those details, you can check out the article in the link below, or you can contact us by email, phone, or by filling out the form below. The bottom line is you can't be drinking or have any alcohol in your system while performing your job, and the same goes for drugs. The FAA is testing for all the regular stuff like marijuana, cocaine, amphetamines, and the list goes on. And for aviation employers, like air carriers, operators, and air traffic control facilities, there are strict policies and procedures that you need to follow for your drug and alcohol testing program. Again, we'll throw those on screen for you, but it includes things like retaining documents, following the random testing process, and documenting everything. Are you meeting these requirements? Are you or your employees at risk of failing these drug and alcohol tests? If you are even questioning it or hesitated to answer that, you should contact us now. You can give us a call, email, or fill out the form below, and one of our occupational healthcare specialists will help you out. As a trucker, what is that one pest, that annoyance, that thorn in your side, that pain in your butt, that pain in the neck? What is the one thing that keeps you up at night? Exactly, insurance. I know you all have noticed and are thinking about it. Don't act like you haven't seen the insurance rates going up. Now, that is happening for a lot of reasons. Inflation, nuclear verdicts, more insurance claims, and so many other things. So how is the insurance industry hoping to lower these rates? Well, it's all going to come down to better CDL driver training and better onboarding. The main issue here is that trucking accidents are increasing. Of course, that is causing a spike in insurance claims, and in turn, premiums are going up. Now, you can always try getting a better rate when your policy is up, or in some cases, you can switch mid-policy, but constantly switching only goes so far. If you do want to explore that, you can always call, email, or fill out the quick quote form below, and we would be happy to help you. So when we talk about better training and onboarding, we're talking about new young drivers because they are perceived as a higher risk. And for new drivers under 30, the violation rate is almost double those over 30. With that said, what kind of training is recommended? So there would be a 3-step approach, which includes 1, onboarding, 2, mentoring, and 3, continuing education. Our partners at CNS and CNS Driver Training Center are key in assisting in these 3 steps. Onboarding and mentoring is something that can last for almost 2 years. After a driver gets their CDL, there are still hundreds of things they need to learn and understand about soft skills and hard skills. We will throw all of these on screen, but soft skills could include things like communication, organization, and discipline, while hard skills could include things like navigation, basic mechanical knowledge, and load securement. This can be done through on-the-job training, continued education schools, or even providing the new driver with a mentor that is showing them the ropes, and they can spend a set number of in-cab hours with them. You can and should even go as far as asking questions at the 30, 60, 90, 120, and 180 day marks to ensure they are progressing as they should. For continued training, you have the option of providing additional coaching and guidance to drivers and in some cases, it may be required for drivers to renew their license by completing a minimum number of training hours over a 5-year period. We offer this on an in-person and remote basis through cnslearninghub.com, which covers trainings from backing to hours of service to HAZMAT, so you can pretty much get any training you need. If you have any questions about your insurance or a better training program for your employees, just give us a call, email us, or fill out the form below, and we can direct you to the right CNS department. As a HAZMAT carrier, you should know that you are at a much higher risk of fines, penalties, and even death if you are not doing things the right way. Did you know that in the past 10 years, road accidents have increased by 155%? Did you also know that there have been 52 fatalities and 160 injuries from HAZMAT incidents involving tractor trailers? A HAZMAT spill can cost more than $1 million to clean up, so you can understand why you are required to go through training. According to the U.S. DOT Hazardous Materials Regulation, all employees with job duties that involve hazardous materials have to complete a HAZMAT certified training within 90 days of starting a position, and then attend refresher training courses every 3 years. This is not an option. It is required and applies to any employee who loads, unloads, or handles hazardous materials or hazardous waste, handles any containers, drums, or packages as qualified for use in the transportation of hazardous materials or waste, prepares any hazardous materials or hazardous waste for transportation, is responsible for the safety of transporting hazardous materials or waste, or operates a vehicle used in the transportation of hazardous materials or waste. Basically, the training gives all HAZMAT employees security awareness training and includes information on topics such as hazardous material tables, hazard classifications, placards, labels, hazardous waste manifests, and security awareness. If you need a refresher or have just started in HAZMAT related positions, check out cnslearninghub.com to learn more about the HAZMAT training course we offer here at CNS. Or if you have any questions, you can give us a call, email us, or fill out the form below, and we'd be happy to help. Have you ever thought about cheating the government? Of course you haven't. Our clients and subscribers are perfect little angels, right? Well, there's a $1 million trucking company out of Rochester, New York that was a little less than perfect. Tony Couric, the owner of Orange Transportation Services and Dallas Logistics, was found guilty of conspiracy, falsifying documents, falsification of records, and I am sure a whole list of other things. The main part of his scheme was that he was opening new companies under the names of family members so that the companies appeared to be independent. In reality, they were extensions of Dallas Logistics, and Couric never disclosed these companies to the FMCSA and was filing paperwork with all kinds of false information. The bottom line is it was a mess, he got caught, and I can only assume he is going to jail. So this is similar to what chameleon carriers do, which are carriers who drop a bad DOT number for a clean one to hide any negative records. And surprisingly enough, we get questions about having 2 DOT numbers all the time. If you have questions about having 2 DOT numbers, give us a call, email us, or fill out the form below because it's not always illegal. As for the family members whose names he used, I'm not sure if they even knew he was doing it. If not, that could make for an awkward family reunion. So Tony might be better off. But he's going to be having a totally different kind of family reunion, if you know what I mean. The point is, the whole reason he created this scheme in the first place was to hide his bad safety rating, keep insurance rates low, continue getting loads from clients, and continue making money. He was trying to accomplish the right things, but was going about it the complete wrong way. Sorry, Tony. If you put a fraction of the effort into following the rules, making your company safe, and keeping your company satisfactory that you put into this complicated scheme, you wouldn't be in jail and your business would be thriving. Unfortunately, this is easier said than done. We have clients across the U.S. that are trying their best to stay out of the red, avoid fines, and do everything by the books. But sometimes it just doesn't work out. We help truckers daily with things like ELD management, driver qualifying, safety training, CSA score management, and if it comes down to it, safety rating upgrades if they are given an unsatisfactory or conditional rating. If you are a trucker and have issues with anything I mentioned above or anything else related to staying DOT compliant, just call, email, or fill out the form below and we'd be happy to help you. As a motor carrier and business owner, you're most likely always going to be competing with a fluctuating economy in some way. Most business owners, whether trucking related or not, know that in order to sustain their business and grow, they need to diversify. All this means is you need to explore other ways of generating revenue, whether it be through new products, new services, or even stepping into a new market to capture a totally different revenue stream. Everyone has heard the expression, "Don't put all your eggs in one basket." Well, that's all we're saying here. Do you think the old chicken farmer, let's call him Dean, is just in it for the eggs? No way! He's probably selling the eggs, the feathers, the chickens themselves, and let's not forget about that premium black gold chicken manure. Old Dean might even use his extra land to raise some cows and start a whole other stream of revenue. Or maybe he says, "I've been driving trucks for years. I can train other people to get their CDL, and then I can sell them trailers to start their businesses and even service them." The possibilities are endless. But enough about this hypothetical Dean guy. As for all you truckers out there, it's up to you to figure out what makes sense for your business. For example, as a dry van carrier, you might consider getting a flatbed or reefer unit to fulfill a customer's other shipping needs. In many cases, companies look to a merger or acquisition when considering diversification. But this also means they need to think about things like how to handle DOT numbers during a merger, what the new entity means for safety history, timing and compliance associated with these changes, and how to transfer things from one entity to the other, like driver qualification files. First of all, you have the transfer of DOT numbers. You have some options here, and technically you can have two DOT numbers, but it depends on what makes sense for your business. According to Adam Galante, one of our DOT compliance experts, this is a complicated topic, and he would make different recommendations based on different variables. If you have any questions, you can call, email, or fill out the form below, and Adam would be happy to help you. Second is what comes along with the creation of a new entity. It does mean a fresh safety history, but it also means going through all the hoops that a new trucking company goes through, like new entrant safety audits and higher insurance rates. Third is timing and compliance. You need to do everything at the right time and make sure you are DOT compliant. You'll have to do things like remark vehicles with new name and DOT number, transfer registrations, qualified drivers with the new DOT, and new ELD accounts, and the list goes on. Lastly, in some cases, you may be able to transfer things over from the old entity to the new entity, like driver qualification files, which needs to be done at the right time so you stay DOT compliant. Whatever direction you decide to take your business, just create a plan and do it legal. At CNS, we talk to clients daily about these exact issues and are happy to help walk you through the process. Feel free to call, email, or fill out the form below, and one of our DOT compliance experts will be happy to help. Well, that about covers it for this month. We hope you enjoyed the video, or at the very least, learned something useful. If so, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I look forward to seeing y'all next month as the days begin to cool off and the smell of autumn leaves and pumpkin spice start to creep in. This is Texas Matt, signing off.